start with you.
Yeah, I want to know first off, what was it like in the locker room coming into this game? Obviously, very important game, every game is important. But off that Iowa loss, and just what was the emotion like in the locker room?
Prior to the game today,
Yeah.
our guys were ready. Our guys were ready. They were excited to play in this game, felt confident in our plan, and I think when they found out that we had everybody available, it kind of just amped it up a little bit more. So, really, I thought the toughness we showed and the connection we showed out there against one of the best teams in the country was great. And praise God for, we didn't know who was going to be playing in this game until this morning, and a lot of prayers went up to just kind of some healing and just get some guy. And our guys worked so hard. We had guys here all day yesterday and into the night to be able to get ready to play. This team has showed tremendous toughness all year just to be available. And so I want to shout out our locker room for that, because I think that it says a lot about the guys we have in there. And, they found a way to get out there, and it was nice to have everybody out there.
It's not just obviously toughness in that sense, but again, bouncing back from what devastating loss. We've asked about it many times before, but what is it in the character of this team that keep bouncing back when it seems like that's
Great chemistry. That was evident from day one. It was by design. And then toughness, toughness. And toughness from the standpoint of, we've had to make adjustments on the fly, and our guys have stepped up. Now, the game before this, we didn't adjust as well as we had been. But they came out and responded because that's who they are. It's a resilient group. It's a tough group. And we've shown an ability to do that all season long.
Just talked to Matt Painter. He flat out said, you guys played harder than they did. And I know the esteem that you hold that program and Matt Painter. When a coach says something like that, did you challenge toughness? Did you challenge some things along those lines since the Iowa game that allowed you to do that?
Well, what Coach Painter's built there it's one of the best programs, certainly in the Big Ten and across the country. And when you're preparing for Purdue and all the stuff they do offensively, and it's very easy to get caught up in the X's and O's. But the bottom line is, if you don't play really tough and have tremendous fight, you don't have a chance. So we game planned, we schemed a little bit, but we talked about it was going to boil down to we had to have the bigger fight. And I thought our guys, showed that. And this is a team, our rebounding today was the best. It felt like live is the best it's been, in a long time. And that takes tremendous fight and toughness. So, the utmost respect for what he's done, what he does, for the Big Ten, and I think he's one of those ambassadors, right, for the greater, college basketball. So tremendous respect for what he does, and our guys respect these guys, as well, and that's why we came out and we fought as hard as we did.
You talk about that rebounding. The one possession in the second half where Yvonne tipped the ball out twice to keep it going, Bruce hits the three. Is that as big a play to talk about some of those things you've been emphasizing that comes out of this game?
Yeah, I thought Yvonne went in there and battled. I mean, we left him on an island against one of the best low post scorers in the country, out of fear for their ability to shoot threes, and he battled. He battled on the glass. I thought his offensive rebound tip outs, and I thought Devin Royal had some big time offensive rebounds down the stretch that I believe twice resulted in free throws. So those two guys, Devin found a way. It wasn't his best, scoring night from the field, but he found a way to impact the game by going to the glass, and that was great, and getting to the free throw line. So, Tilly stepped up, found a way to be available. Amari, same thing. We weren't sure if he was going to be there. He found a way to be available, hit a big three for us. So I think you can go down the list, really, of all the guys that stepped up and gave us something. And then obviously what Bruce and Junie did, scoring and things. It was a total team effort.
3-0 against this Purdue team that's been ranked highly at the time you faced them. What is it? I mean, you just talked about how much you respect them, but why is it you're able to get these and maybe not some other ones? And can you translate this?
Listen, I think it's a game by game thing. You know, I can assure you we didn't prep, you know, more for this than we did any other game, right? We're prepping as hard as we possibly can. I think, again, going back to the game before this, we needed, probably considering our lineup issues and some of the foul issues we had early, we needed to simplify things a little bit more than we did. That affected us. But, you know, it was great to be home. I think that plays a role. I mean, I felt like we had a home court advantage today, and that was great. And appreciate, you know, Buckeye Nation for being there and helping us, you know, have that advantage. We need them again. We got a huge game before this, but our next home game is next weekend, and we need them to show up again. But yeah, it's not. I wish I could tell you like, hey, yeah, we got some like secret sauce, but we're just preparing as hard as we possibly can, try to put our guys in position to be successful. I thought the execution of the game plan on both sides of the ball was high level, you know, by our guys, and they had the fight. Like, you have to have. We talk about playing with toughness and fight and playing together all the time. Our guys put that on display today at a high level.
So the first half, you were able to really limit them to 2. In the second half, I think they were over 9 to start from 3, taking away what kind of they needed, what they were trying to do. Why so effective defensively? Is it that game plan?
Yeah, well, I mean, we had to make some adjustments. You know, we were winning the paint battle in the first half. They hit some threes. We had to take away. We had a couple breakdowns, so we had to take away those threes. Like, you're not going to hold them three-less, right? But we had to make it really, really hard. And I thought, you know, we did outside of the last minute where they hit a couple in the second half. And we had to make a decision. Like, you have to make a decision there. Are you going to commit 2 to the post and now put yourself in rotation, which, you know, they do a great job of moving the ball and positioning the pieces to create threes? Or are you going to try to provide some support, but not too much support where you give up threes and have those guys play one-on-one inside? So there was some back and forth, you know, quite honestly, just mixing up coverages and stuff because you have to against them. You can't give them the same thing, you know, a whole game. It's too good of a coach.
About simplifying some things, I think you played 8 guys, but really a core of 7. Was part of simplifying your rotations?
Yeah, you know, I think going into the game, we felt like if we had everybody available that maybe we would be able to shrink some minutes and opportunities for guys. I didn't anticipate playing only 8. I think that's just kind of the way the flow of the game went. We got great faith in our bench. Our bench has got a lot of experience, you know, in the last few weeks. So great confidence in those guys, and they were ready. You know, I think they stayed ready, stayed engaged. But just the way the game was flowing, and we had some guys, we really only had foul trouble in the interior. We didn't really have any foul issues on the perimeter, so I think that allowed us to play some guys. And then, you know, we used timeouts, and we used the media timeouts to sub, where maybe we might have in the past put a guy in. So it just was the flow of the game. Nothing against anybody. Like, those guys, you know, have done a good job for us.
Toughness. I'm not sure how many people recognize this, but you hurt yourself trying to call a timeout during that game. So, I mean,
yeah.
How are you feeling coming out of this game?
I'm fine. I'm the least of my worries. Yeah, that was. I regret. You know, I don't regret calling that timeout. I just regret turning when I called the timeout. That hurt a little bit.
Yeah, Jake, the question was asked in here to Bruce and John about the court storming, and I mean, Bruce gave a very nonchalant answer, but what does it mean to you? You just talked about Buckeye Nation being here, showing up. This building had a lot of juice in it today. To see them on the court celebrating with your team, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, the Nut House was great, and I mean, listen, as long as everybody's safe, you can get the other team off the court and they want to have some fun and celebrate with us, like I'm all for that, you know. And I thought our people did a wonderful job executing that. I didn't really know what's going on because it was like delayed. But that was great. You know, you certainly, we've all seen, right, issues with teams getting run over, guys. Like, I just went and stood next to Josh and thought we could kind of protect ourselves and not get run over. But no, I'm happy that our guys got to have that moment, and the Nut House got to have that moment. And you know, we've been working. There's a lot of people behind the scenes that work to help build the environment in here, and we know we got one of the biggest buildings in the country. And so, you know, they're doing a lot of work to help build that. And so, yeah, I'm all for celebrating it. Thought it was executed really well.
Thanks, guys.
Blake and next, Steve. 4 guys in double figures today. Then a couple weeks ago, you said this team is positioned to play its best basketball at the end of the season. Well, we're here now, and you guys did today. What's your message to the team to continue doing so?
Yeah, we have to prepare like we did. We have to play together like we did. And you got to have tremendous fight and toughness this time of year. You know, you're seeing across the country some wild scores, right? Like February, end of February it's a unique time in college basketball. We're blessed to be playing some big time, meaningful games. I want our guys to embrace the moment, focus on the task at hand, and do the little things that we know help us be successful on game day. So it helps having everybody out there. That helps us play our best, you know, and we got to keep fighting to be available and pushing. I wish you guys could see behind the scenes the stuff that happens. I mean, we celebrated our trainer and doctor in the locker room because they were working overtime, you know, to help some of these guys get available. So, you know, but our guys have a great approach. They're spending time in this building to try to be their best, and I think that's a great recipe to playing your best. But still got to execute, still got to do those things. But we have this type of fight and execution. That combination is really important for us.
What's one word on that note that you would use to describe this team?
Close. I mean, we have a close team. We have a close team. They get along well. It was evident in June. We were very intentional, you know, by just bringing in good, hard-working guys, right? And we have that. So I think the closeness of this team, the way they've had each other's back when guys have been out, the way they're fighting to get back to play, you know, for their team says a lot about how close this team is.
Coach, I want to ask you about 2 plays. 3 minutes to go. Looks like Chapman has a wide open layup and he goes into the corner for Bynum. And I know he was having problems with his calf. It sounded like he got hurt yesterday before. And he makes a 3 there. Just when you grow up at 11, what was your thought about that play and how huge that was at that moment, given the fact Purdue was coming on?
Yeah, huge shot. And, you know, we're not anti-layups, right? But I think it just shows, like, the belief these guys have in each other. And for Taysom to make that pass, it was an unselfish play. You know, maybe someone comes from behind block, maybe not, but he saw a guy wide open and delivered it right in his hands. I mean, just, again, I think it speaks to the closeness this group has and the confidence they have in each other. That was a big-time play.
Yeah, it feels like a lot of games you come up one play short, and you got those today. The other one, about 2 minutes to go, Tilly missed kind of a little runner going to the basket, comes off the board, and Royal came out of, I don't know, left field out of nowhere over everybody and dunked it. And you had to feel probably at that point it was going to happen, although it was still a rough last minute and a half.
You can sit in my seat, Steve, and you ain't never gonna feel.
For him to make that play, I mean, that was, you know, an individual effort play going up and putting it away like that.
Yeah, I said it before. I mean, Devin was a monster on the glass today, and he found a way. He didn't have his best game making shots, but he found a way to be impactful. Got to the free throw line. It speaks to the maturity, I think, and how his game has evolved. And those were big time rebounds down the stretch. So, yeah, against the Purdue team with guards like that, you never really feel comfortable, you know, until that clock hits 0. But I think that's what was great. Because ultimately, right, you want to put guys in an advantage situation, and then guys, you know, you step up and make plays down the stretch like that. That segment of the game is oftentimes the players' time, and the players stepped up and made plays. You know, on both sides. I thought we had some key stops in that stretch, some key rebounds, some key offensive rebounds. You know, and we were able to kind of fight the fatigue of the end of the game a little better today with some of our substitutions going into those last 4 minutes. So, yeah, give our guys a ton of credit with the way they were able to come up with the big plays down the stretch.
Jake, you're talking about how much it took to get some guys ready today and not knowing even maybe this morning who all was going to be available. Do you anticipate kind of being in that mode the rest of the year? Like guys like Christoph and Amari, like just because they played today, does it definitely how much this is still day to day?
Yeah, I mean, I hope they haven't left yet. I hope they're in the training room because we got a quick turnaround, you know, really all week. We got to manage, our time on the court with wisdom and efficiency. I think the good thing is, Lord willing, like we've kind of this sickness that has lingered is kind of moved on. So that's encouraging. But yeah, it's February. Guys are banged up. But again, we have guys. I don't think this isn't necessarily the case across the country, but we have guys who are fighting to get back on the court and fighting. And we have to make some adjustments. Some guys can't do as much in practice, and we got to practice less, and all of that stuff we're trying to manage to get ready on game day. And it's a fine line. It's a fine line when you're making that decision on how much to do on the court. How much do you walk through versus run live like maybe you used to earlier in the year? All those decisions, got a great staff. We talk through that stuff together, and we trust the performance team, sports science, all of it. Like there's a lot of information that goes in deciding what we do, in practice. And sometimes that decision happens about 20 minutes before practice. But I'm just thankful our guys are working so hard to be available.
How satisfying is that when you're trying to emphasize that, and then he lets the moment that they put from his head turn into a
I'm glad you asked that. It shows the growth that he's made. I don't know if he would have been able to do that a few weeks ago, but he's playing with confidence. He knows, the belief that I have in him, and he knows he's got an ability to play through mistakes, and I've told him from the beginning, just be aggressive, man. Like he has a really high basketball IQ, and what we're seeing that translate on the defensive side more, and that's important for us. It's important for us. So he gave us some great minutes today. Got tasked with some tough challenges defensively at times, and held his own for the most part. So I think we're seeing growth for a guy who we got to remember who just hasn't had that kind of extended multiple years of experience to do that. So I think it's a great sign. It's a great sign for us and him.
Did you guys do anything differently today to try to prevent sending two after the ball, mostly after Bruce, or to make them from sending two the ball? Because that's kind of how Iowa was able to beat Bruce behind the ball.
Yeah, we did. We adjusted kind of our ball screen attack, and then we moved. If you probably saw, we were moving pieces around differently to get him the ball in other areas. And I thought there were times we just didn't bring someone else up there and gave him some space and allowed, guys to kind of play off penetration more. So that was an adjustment that we made. You saw we attacked it with the short roll. Tilly being out there helped with that. That's been a solution for us. All season, because Iowa wasn't the first time we've seen that. Iowa's the worst we handled it, but it wasn't the first time we saw that. So Tilly being out there and his ability to play make in that situation is really valuable for us. So, but we gave multiple looks and shuffled some things around to help with that.
This game, you got the 14-point lead. Of course, they make some runs, and you guys responded every time. I know some games this year there's been lots of drastic runs. Didn't let that happen today, and I think maybe Wisconsin game was kind of the same way. How's this team grown in that area to just respond to that? Is that just a toughness thing? Is it just an execution? Is it a combination? Or some other way you might define it?
Yeah, I think, but yes, all of that stuff plays a role. But I think, for us at times when our offense becomes too isolate, too one-on-one, and we stand, we get bogged down a little bit. So I thought today we did a great job creating some either long closeouts or wide open shots in those stretches. And we didn't make them all, but we made enough of them. And then we we went to the offensive glass. That's another way you can help stop some runs. So, again, we learned from the last game. We were better offensively in the second half than the first half of the Iowa game, but we learned from that, and I thought our guys came out here and did a good job sharing it, creating opportunities for others, which was important.
They settled down.
To the early part on defense, because it seemed like you were flying by a lot of guys and they were getting open looks from threes, and then that seemed to go away. Were they a little amped up maybe early on?
I think our guys were excited for this game. Certainly, we got caught in I guess, like an oh shoot moment, right? A couple times, too many times early, and that's where you end up flying by. Now, some guys, there's strategy involved where we don't want Lawyer stepping into threes. I mean, he's a really good shooter. So, yes, like some of that was strategy. There were some times where we just got caught too low, and that put us in that situation. But I think defensively, we really settled in there for a stretch of the first half. That was big time for us.
Coach, thanks.
All right, thanks, guys. Have a good night.